I'm sick. Send help. Gitz, Regiment of Renown and Kruleboyz. I'm thinking maybe. Thanks to all my patrons, thanks to Iberian, thanks to Baron of Dice, and thanks to everybody in my Discord. A lot of people were helping me out make this video with the models and the base sizes and all this, so appreciate that. So first, what's actually in the Gitz Regiment of Renown? So these are not the right models, obviously, because they don't exist in TTS yet. So, but it's 2 units of this cavalry, and if you've been following the Gitz stuff at all, they don't deal any damage. They don't deal any damage. Like, any units in this Regiment of Renown are going to deal 0 damage. You can just sort of assume that that's the case. And they, I think, mostly are on 4-up saves, no wards, but they're all really fast. So they're sort of, for, like, in a Kruleboyz army and in a Gitz army, they're relatively survivable. You should check out, The Honest Wargamer has a video going over all of these units individually. And then there's this, like, Snarlfang and his little retinue, and they also don't deal any damage, but are really fast. But they have an ability that cavalry units, so these friendly Gitz right here, while they're wholly within 12, I think, of the boss guy here, they get +1 or +2. They get +2 to charge. That's going to be relevant later. And then they have a reinforced unit of Sunwheelers. So these guys have an ability in the movement phase where they go careening off. So as far as I understand it, they can do this even if they're in combat in your movement phase. So they're hard to pin down. They're going to be really annoying. They're going to be good at getting into your opponent's backline, into their squishy heroes. They will be able to kill their squishy heroes. And they deal some mortal wounds and stuff as they go flying around. But again, they don't deal any damage. They're mid-survivable for destruction. And they're all super fast. They all move super, super quick. So the reason that I'm thinking that they're going to be good for Kruleboyz is their rule that they get as a Regiment of Renown. You take this whole unit, this whole squad, 1, 2, 3, 4 units, and you null deploy them. You deploy them like lurking around or something, and then in your movement phase, they just get set up on the battlefield outside of 9 inches of your opponent. So the idea with this Regiment of Renown is that all of these really fast cavalry units are basically going to do some kind of alpha pin or just get in the way of your opponent so that they can't get to you. So that's sort of what I was thinking originally. That's when I was looking at this, I was like, how can we make Kruleboyz good? Or, you know, at least playable? And if we always wanted fast cavalry just to get in the way so that everything else in our army can do what it needs to do, because we don't really have any kind of proper pinning units, fast units, alpha strike units, tar pit units. We have none of those, really. Gut-rippas are the best that we have, with -2 to hit on a 4-up save, right, with the shaman before using any command points, or even like save stacking 3 +1 to saves on gut-rippas with -1 to hit against them, right? But with a 5-up ward, maybe. So I was thinking, like, okay, well, if we can just throw a bunch of trash in our opponent's way and make them, like, take the first 2-3 turns to get to us, what does the rest of the list look like? So here's what the rest of the list looks like. So total, it's a 3-drop list. We're going with a Swampcalla Shaman with the Swampcalla Staff and 3 reinforced units of Boltboyz. We're going to try to deal damage with Boltboyz while all of this trash just slows down the opponent and gets in the way. And then our last drop is a Killaboss with Slippery Skumbag, a Murknob Shaman. He's going to probably be taking Field Sergeant, a unit of Monsta-killaz, and 1 Killbow. I think the reason that Field Sergeant is really important here is because we want our Boltboyz to be moving up the board as fast as possible for 2 reasons. 1, to start to take the map and take primaries, and 2, just to make sure that they're shooting from turn 1 every single round. If this strategy is going to work, all of our shooting units have to shoot all of their shots every single round. Every single round. We're also going to be spending a command point in our opponent's turn to shoot again. It just has to happen. If we spend the first turn not shooting and just moving, we're doomed. So with that in mind, we're also taking the sub-faction that extends the range of all of our shooting units by 3 inches. I think you pick 3, right? I think you just pick 3. So we have 4. So you get to pick 3 of them and extend their range by 3 inches, which means that hasty shot now becomes a 15-inch range and aim shot becomes a 21-inch range. If we can also move 2 additional inches with Field Sergeant, that means that we can move 7 inches and then shoot 21 inches. So we have a 28-inch threat range. If we deploy on the line, 28 inches is far. It's far. We're going to be able to deploy and we're going to be able to shoot turn 1 and every turn from then on. And we'll also get within range, because don't forget, if our aimed shot, which does more damage, right? Aimed shot always just does more damage. I did the math. Let's look at the math. Where are we? Right here. So the math for the Boltboyz, right? This is for 6 Boltboyz. Hasty shot, right? Even if we move, hasty shot's dealing more damage than aim shot, unless it's like a 2-up save. If they're on a 2-up save, so if they're like Ardboys with all-out defense, then aim shot is more because we get 1 additional rend. But hasty shot is better against everything that's on a 3-up save and higher. And the higher that we go up this ladder, like the worse save your opponent has, the better that hasty shot is. So if they're Ardboys with all-out defense, or if they're hammerers, so in the hardest of defenses, you use aimed, but for everything else you use hasty. So if we can move 7 inches and we have a 15-inch range for hasty, it means that now we have a 22-inch range for hasty shot. So again, if we deploy on the line, it's like we're able to shoot deep into our opponent's line with Field Sergeant and this extended range, because again, we need to shoot every single turn, right? Yep, so we're on 2 casts with a Shaman. We're also going to be able to have a 6-up ward for our shooting units, right? Because we're going to be putting the Murknob somewhere so that all these infantry can get +2 moves, so they're also going to have a 6-up ward. That's not super impactful, but it does just help a little bit with some kind of counter shooting, or like D3 mortal wounds here and there from different spells and stuff. It's just going to help us survive a little bit longer. And then a unit of Monsta-killaz just to help out, and a Killaboss who's probably going to be coming in later in the game to try to clean a couple things up. He's also just here to get tactics and to help. Okay. There's a second version of the list. Now, this version of the list is the first version of the list that I wrote, because I was thinking that Gobsprakk might be back. Gobsprakk has had some point decreases. He's still a little bit expensive in my opinion, like he's still pushing it, but he's a lot better now because we have these new manifestations. So, a wizard is only as good as the spells he can cast, and we all agree that these new Orruk manifestations are all good, and they're all 3 are good for different reasons. So if Gobsprakk is able to zip around the board, I think he's 12-inch flying, right? But if he's able to fly around the board and throw Foot of Gork into your opponent, he's able to throw the Swamp into your opponent and make it super annoying, then I think, you know, that he's definitely worth trying out now, just because, like I said, the spells that he can cast have suddenly got a lot better. So he is a really fast to-cast wizard. You know, he is still too expensive. He is still too expensive. But we are in a manifestation meta, and so being able to scare your opponent's little footcasters into thinking twice about casting before they take D3 mortal wounds, or D6 mortal wounds perhaps, like it's something. So again, I would like to see him come down in points a little bit more, but what is he now? 360, I think is what he is. But or maybe, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me see. Where's my actual list here? I'll find it later. I can't remember exactly what he is. I think he's 360. He was 380, or is he 340 now? Jeez, Moss, you should know these things. Killboss and Corpse-rippa Vulcha. Oh, I put them all here. Gobsprakk, 330. right. That's right. So he's come down 50 points since launch. So for 330 points, like, we're kind of getting there, right? The rest of the list is 2 units of Monsta-killaz. Just for points, I think. You could also take, if you wanted to alter this list, you could get rid of both units of Monsta-killaz and throw in another reinforced unit of Boltboyz. So that's an option. You could also pull out one of the Killbows. But the Monsta-killaz, I think, are good. They're going to help with primaries. So this list is like less in the Boltboy heavy, and it's got one more Killbow. Again, just for points. But you can fiddle around with this. You sort of get the idea, right? We're going, in this list, in this Gobsprakk list, we're 4 casts. 2 of them are on +1. So it's quite, like, it's a lot, you know? Like, it's a lot of spells. Like, we're going to be able on turn 1 to at least attempt to cast all 3 of our manifestations, probably starting with the Gork as a way of giving, you know, maybe the Swampcalla or maybe even I'm not sure if it works on Gobsprakk. I can't imagine why it doesn't, but again, I'm sick, so my brain is a little bit fuzzy. Like, for example, I just launched StarCraft 2 by accident, so... but you sort of get the idea, right? We're going heavy spells, heavy shooting, and then we're just choking up the battlefield with all of these garbage Gitz. 540 points for this Regiment of Renown. So the rest of our army list is 1460. I think both of these lists ended up being exactly 1440. I'll post both of these lists in the comments below. Okay, so how does it actually work when it's on the table? So I'll take, for example, this Killboss version first. So our first drop, we just tell our deployment, or we tell our opponent that yes, we have officially deployed our Gitz Regiment of Renown. It is deployed. Done. Cool. Our opponent does their thing. Next, we're just going to throw down... what are we going to throw down? We're going to actually just throw down this regiment. We're 3 drops. So our opponent could very well... So I deployed my Ironjawz list on the other side of the table. So these Gore-grunts can go a total of 12 inches, right, with Mighty Destroyers, and then they can charge. So we're going to just make it so our opponent has to have a 10-inch charge. So we're going to go 9.6 inches away is what we're going to do. So we're just going to deploy all of our Boltboyz right here on this line here. So, as I said before, because our shooting is 21 inches plus 7 inches. Oh, I forgot our little tower as well. I don't really know where. I haven't really thought where we're going to put the tower. Put the tower over here. No, you know what? Let's put the tower a little bit forward. We can put the tower like all the way out here if we wanted. We just got to make sure that when we put our Swampcalla down that he can get in the tower in the hero phase. Yeah, scary, right? So everything that's within this range can sort of get strike last for free, right? Or we can sneak. So we're just going to stick it up here. And our Swampcalla Shaman is, yeah, just going to go... Well, I guess he can't. Whatever. I don't know where to put this right now. I haven't thought too much about it. But we'll just put him over here. Yeah, we'll just stick him right here. Whatever. Well, the boss rock can sort of come over on this side. And then we'll just make sure that if we want to sneak, that our furthest guy is wholly within 18. Because then we can sneak for free without having to roll. Okay. And then the next drop is here. So there's a big pig over here, so I don't want the kill boss on that side. Right? He's going to instead try to threaten this weaker side. We do have to watch out for the Ragers. The Killbow is, well, we want him to shoot a monster. So this is the only monster that we got. So the Killbow's range, I think the Killbow's range just at the beginning is 24 inches, isn't it? It's got, I think, a longer range. Where are you, my friend? Killbow. Yeah, so the Killbow's range is, so it's 27 inches, right? The range is 27 inches. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to put him 27 inches away from this monster so that he doesn't even have to move, right? Because don't forget that if he moves, he doesn't get like a free +1 to hit. Yeah. So we want that free +1 to hit so that he's sitting on 3s. So we're just going to put him within range of this. And so if our opponent makes us go first, then, you know, bam, we're going to just shoot him or whatever. Oh yeah, the Murknob is also a pretty good target to go inside of this, the boss rock tower, right? Because he has his ward is there. But instead, we're just going to put it right here because he is Field Sergeant, right? Our Shaman can go on the tower. That's fine. And that's the whole deployment, right? That's the whole thing. And so, oh no, there's a unit of Monsta-killaz here. So we're just going to put him over here on this flank. We're just going to stick him in front of the Killbow. They can grab this primary. Well, if that's what we're going to do, we should probably do it a little bit better. We got to make sure that we're getting advantage. We're getting some kind of advantage from Field Sergeant. So they can move 7 inches. So this is a little bit of a run. See, I'm a little bit afraid of these pigs coming in, right? But it's pretty far. Yeah, this is 21 inches, right? This is 21 inches. This is 21 inches. So this is fine. So then this is like... Yeah, we could auto-run them to land on this objective, but it's not that concerning because we still have all of these Gitz sitting in reserve, right? Okay, so on turn 1, if our opponent decides that they want to go first, what they're going to do is they're going to move up the map. This is a pretty aggressive army, so you could see how in most cases if our opponent's armies aren't super fast or aren't super, threatening, like if we're not playing up against Kragnos, we could even deploy straight on the line. But if our opponent says that they want to go first, I don't think they're going to be able to tag us from the very beginning of the game, right? Like we deployed in such a way that they're not going to be able to. Our opponent knows that. There's no way they're coming in. So what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to claim one objective, right? They'll probably try to claim one objective and move everything else in their army up a little bit. But they might be able to come stand on these circles here, right? So that's scary, right? The fact that we can get a whole bunch of Ardboys onto some of these objectives, but that's just, that's just the nature of the game, right? But if we go first, if we're able to go first, then we can take a bunch of these. So like, for example, these Sunwheelers, we can just stick them 9 inches away over here on this side. They're going to screen out for this kill boss. They're going to screen out for this kill boss. These Wolf Riders, we could stick them outside of 9 over here on this side. Same thing with these guys. We could do the same thing. We could stick them outside of 9, maybe of these pigs. Like this. Right? You kind of get the idea. We're a little bit too close on this side. And then the Snarlfang boss, we can stick them... These models aren't the right size, by the way. These guys are small. But we could stick them right here. So on this objective, maybe in fact, the Wheelers should go like... Yeah, and then, because don't forget too that on our move, we can move and grab our objectives, or our, so we can take all of the objectives on the map. This becomes 7 inches on the dice if we wanted to pin. These guys are not very tough, but like this Tusk boss is going to get a lot of bonus damage if we let it charge and if we let it run. So we only need 7 on the dice, so I would say that is a pretty good... Oops. Clear mat. So I would say that's a pretty good chance, right? We need a 7-inch charge. There we go. These Snarlfangs can just... Or these cavalry guys can just pop in here and just pin these guys down here. This is a 9-inch charge over here. So the Sunwheelers might actually be worth it if we could get the Sunwheelers just to sort of pin the Ardboys into position like this and hold them back. And then this unit of and this is an off charge, right? Like we probably won't be getting this, but they are scary. I'm not sure. Can we use their ability if they've been set up this turn? Right, because in the move phase, they get to move their move characteristic, but I have a feeling that it's not going to be, it's probably not going to be allowed just because that's consistent with the other rules in AOS, right? Like, you can't set up and then move. So I have a feeling that's not going to be the case. And if we wanted to, like, we could do the same thing here. These guys could also sort of charge in. They're probably, on our turn, they're going to survive the round of combat, probably. Especially if we position them in such a way, like Aaron was showing me the other day, how we sort of make them annoying right? It's like you can't get all the pigs into fight on these guys if we sort of position them like this. So at least on our turn, our opponent is going to be pinned to the back, and then on our opponent's turn, they're going to move forward, right? They're going to like pile in and all this, but they're going to probably still remain in combat. Like I think that if we did this properly, right? If we stayed away from these Ardboys, if we just pinned in, we don't care about the damage. We're not dealing any damage. So we can just leave stuff back like this. So if our opponent is able to like get rid of the first models, you know, like deal enough damage to leave some models alive, they're then on our opponent's turn. Like let's say that they get rid of all of this in combat. Well, guess what? On your turn, we still have these guys sitting in the middle of the map. They're still just sitting here. And we've been able to move up our Boltboyz a little bit. And on our turn, take shots. You know? So it's this combined with the fact that we can throw the Foot of Gork out there and try to slow them down even more, right? And if we want to, we can dirty trick and teleport some of our units to other places to shoot in other spots, you know? If we could also take priority target on a unit of Boltboyz if there's like a juicy target. Of course, if we're outdropping our opponent, in this case we're not, so we wouldn't get that extra thing. But the idea is that we're just going to keep shooting and shooting and shooting and hopefully kill things, right? We're going to be taking shots with our Killbow on this Tusk boss right away. Hopefully the Foot of Gork is coming out to choke up the middle and make sure that our pigs here can't charge at us, right? That if you can remove a charge die, then there's a 33% chance that they fail a 3-inch charge. And if that's what happens, if they fail a charge on us, they're going to Mighty Destroyers into us, right, the next turn. But it's like we just want to be able to keep shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. Because with our Boltboyz, if we can sit still and we don't have to move, right, Hasty Shot's going to be dealing, let's say, 6 damage. So every one of these units is going to lift a pig, right? I know it's not a ton of damage, but every one of these shots is able to lift a pig. So on turn 1, moving forward, we should be able to, you know, even move and then shoot. And then we probably don't even need to charge into the pigs. We'll probably lift those pigs right away. And then we can pin this unit of Ardboys. So if we've removed the pigs, if we've pinned the Ardboys just for a turn or two, if we've pinned the Ardboys and we have pinned the Tusk boss back, and then we're able just to unload on them. The idea is that over 3 turns, we're gonna sort of pick everything off, right? So if in the first round we get rid of this, and then let's say the second round, because even from this position, like if we were to take all of these units, if this is our turn 1 move, if our turn 2 move is we move 7 inches in this direction, well this pig is gonna be within our shooting range. Oh no, he's not. Not from the furthest away guys, he's not. Right, because our range is 21 inches. So, but still, there's going to be, you know, half of this unit can shoot at it, right? If we can, and if the Killbow takes 2 shots and does 12 damage, if he hits twice in 2 rounds of shooting, right? Like suddenly if we start picking stuff off, and if we lose, like in 2 rounds, if we lose, and this Sunwheeler is going to be super annoying. He's going to be able to maybe wheel around and get into this knob, right? But if we're able to trade all of this stuff, right, all of this Gitz garbage, if we're able to trade this for this in this list, is this, do you think, a worthwhile trade? Like, how would you feel if this was the state of the board after, like, 2 rounds? These guys are just going to run in and charge, right? They're just going to run in and charge. They're going to spend the first turn in the back, and then the second turn, they're going to run in and just get in the way. They don't even have to charge. In fact, they shouldn't charge. They should just stay a little bit away, right? Keeping in mind that if we Mighty Destroyers 3 inches, right? So we could just sit 6 inches back, and so they can't really, you know, they have to charge into us, right? But if that's what we're doing, either charging in at bad angles so that our opponent can't get all their attacks off, right? If that's what we're doing, charging in so that the shield bash and everything else, you know, isn't going to be as bad, and force, like, if we could even get into an even worse position, like if we could even get someplace like over here, right? It's like we drop them here and then we move around and then we come in the back. It's like, this is going to be super annoying for our opponents to deal with. Same thing with the kill boss. The kill boss is wave 2. If we're able to bring in the kill boss on this unit of whatever's here, and then if we're able to throw down our manifestations, like if we can Foot of Gork and throw our swamps. This is sort of why I'm thinking Gobsprakk might be the way to go too, right? Because he is scary and able to throw out lots of these the manifestations might be a big part of this list, right? But it's like, oh my god, the Raiders and the Rekkas can't run anymore. Well, they can't run and charge anymore. So if they can't run and they're only getting 1 die for a charge, they're moving 4 inches and then they are charging 1d6. Like, these guys aren't coming anymore. And then our Boltboyz are going to be able to clean these guys off the table so quickly. If they can't run and charge at us, they're just going to be gone. And so these Ardboys are going to be dealing their wounds, and they're going to be moving up the table, right? But it's like, if we're able just to keep shooting and shooting and shooting, with a hasty shot against all-out defense Ardboys, they're only losing 2 models a round of shooting. Right? But they're Ardboys. They're going to be hard to get rid of. But, you know, yeah, that's kind of the idea. That's kind of the idea. And then these Monsta-killaz are just going to move up and do whatever, right? They're going to just cap some home objectives. Our Swampcalla Shaman could do the same and just make sure that we're keeping these units alive. And the Murknob is just going to follow around the Boltboyz just to make sure that they're getting that extra 2 movement for infantry. So yeah, let me know what you think. Is this style something that you'd be willing to try out, and let me know how it goes? Do you think that this is going to be good going into an infantry meta? These Boltboyz against, like, if they were shooting against Gut-rippas, this unit of Boltboyz would remove a unit of, like, they would deal something like 30 damage against a 5-up save with hasty shot. So you're lifting, like, hopefully you're lifting stuff. And don't forget too that you're going to be spending a command point to cast spells in your opponent's turn, and you're going to be spending your command points to shoot in your opponent's turn, because we're not all out attacking, right? You can all out defense some of these goblins, but throw trash at your opponent over and over and over again and shoot them. Like, subscribe. Wow.